In this DIY, I'm going to show you how to make these awesome crows from out of an oven mitt. And you'll just need a black oven mitt, your favorite homespun, some tags, a bell, a wooden star, and maybe buttons for the eyes. So come with me, let's make these awesome oven mitt crows. For this next DIY, we are going to take this oven mitt and turn it into a primitive crow. You will need some black thread, preferably some cross-stitch thread or embroidery thread because it's a little heavier duty and thicker, and then a good sharp needle. You'll also need a pair of scissors, and we're going to work on this mitt. Okay, when you look at the mitt, when you turn it like this, you can see the crow in the shape here. So we're going to make a few little changes, but the first thing we want to do is up here we are going to begin cutting. And I'm going to kind of draw my line so that you can see it with this pair of scissors. And we're going to cut that off. And you can just come in real easy. If you don't trust yourself, you could use a white marker or a chalk pencil to make your mark. Actually coming down about an inch or two from the top of our oven mitt. And we're just drawing that line out and coming around and just kind of making his head. And hopefully you can find you some black mittens. I got this one at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to come around a little bit deeper here. And then that way it'll shape his head. I'm going to cut that off. Now you'll need a good pair of sharp scissors. I usually use fabric scissors for this, but you might be able to do this with your crafting scissors. And just go through there. And I'm doing both layers at the same time. Alright, there we go. We have that much done. Now the next thing we do while we have this cut is we're going to pinch the nose right here. So we need to put some hot melt glue down in there so we can kind of make that nose a little bit more shaped. So we're going to put the glue in there and then press this and hold it until it dries. So you can probably get your hot melt glue gun down in there. You don't need a whole lot, but you do need enough that you can get that to stick together with the hot melt glue. And just hold to it. You want to kind of press it. And with me, you can do 2 fingers and just press it like that. And you've got to hold to that until that hot melt glue is cooled off. Just kind of give it that point and flatten it out a little bit so it looks more like a crow. Now this next move I'm going to show you is how to make a quilter's stitch, or a blanket stitch is what sometimes it's called. And you want to fold this under. If you want to take it to a sewing machine, you could, but we're just going to flip it under. If you glue this, then you can glue that shut as well, but I'm going to give it that old-fashioned look and make it look better. And I bring my thread in here. I just take and I run it from the inside. That way my knot is tucked in. And so go ahead and get your string running there. Now, it's real easy to do. We're going to fold this under. We're going to get straightened out. And we're just going to tuck that for a moment. And if you have some pins or some clips, anything, you can kind of do that. But I need to get it started. Once you get it started, a lot of times you can keep it tucked. So we just want that little bit tucked there. And we're going to bring that together. And then we can do that the rest of the way up. And you might want to get you some pins or something. So it's just, you move faster if you've already got it tucked in. And what we're going to do, we're going to bring our thread go through the back because we brought it through the center. So we're going to go through the back. We're going to bring it in to the front. Okay. And the very first thing you do is you can put the thread in front if you want to. But when you go back through, you're not going to lay that thread down. You're going to keep it up. You want to keep your thread behind the needle. See how? And I've just got this pulled up here so I can hold to it. When you do that, when you pull this through, see how that thread is riding? And when you do that, it's going to create your loop. So now you've got that drawn up. So real simple. The very next one, go about 1/4 of an inch up. Once again, you want to keep that needle coming over here. And when you bring your needle back through, you're going to put the thread behind the needle. When you do, you get this beautiful square blanket stitch. See how this? Just like that. And it looks real old-fashioned. And some people do this the opposite direction. I am right-handed, And this way has always worked for me. A lot of people do this left-handed. So once again, we'll go back there. We put that thread behind the needle, pull it on through, and now we have these beautiful little stitches here. And that closes it up. And that'll give you idea. So I'm going to do all the way across here, and I'll be back. Before you close it completely up, when you get about 2/3 of the way up, leave yourself a spot to put an eye in here. Now, I'm going to be using these kind that you buy for stuffed animals, and they have this little lock backing that you can put on them, and they're real easy to use. If you don't have this, you could use a button. A button would be great, and you don't have to make much of a pierce, but a pair of scissors, and you just push this through. In case you haven't ever used one, when you push it through, you literally take the little plastic piece here, the little lock, and press it down past all of the little crevices that's on here, and it locks it. I mean, like, that button won't ever come off. You'd have to pry it off. Now, here's the thing. Because it's going against this same side over here, you can kind of use that as your gauge as to where your next one goes in. And I may actually take my needle nose pliers and just knock this tip off. Not the whole way, because remember, you only got like 2 or 3 of these little locks. And if you turn this lock the opposite way, it will work just as well. It'll just like push it up, so if you were countersinking it into a piece of fabric. But if you want it to poke out, turn this fastener to where the nipple of it, see, is outward. If you turn it this away to where the nipple's inward, you can countersink your eye. So just a FYI, if you don't know. And if you do turn around, it's not going to hurt it anyway. And like I said, then you can sew it the rest of the way up. So make sure you put your fastener on. If you're using buttons, you can just use hot melt glue, or you can sew it on. Either way, just an idea for your eye. Once you have your crows sewn together and the eyes in place, if that's what you want to do, just take you some cinnamon and dust your oven mitt and just rub it really, really good and get that cinnamon on there and make it look really prim. It just looks great. Give it that true primitive color. The little cinnamon goes a long way. And as you can see, it closed up really nice. Got the pinched snout there for the beak. Dust your cinnamon in there and rub it real good. Just smells so good. Looks great. And then the stitches up here, if you did those in white, they look just as good when you put cinnamon on them as well. Next, grab you some homespun, and we're going to tie that around him and just make him look so perfectly prim. And you just want to catch it right here underneath the beak and up back, and you can bring it down here and tie it and just make it look so spiffy. And if you decide that you would rather purchase versus make one, please check the website. I'll put it across the screen here at dandelionsop.com/primitive. And so now we have him tied right there. You could put that in a knot or however you want to do it. I'm just doubling it up, and I may just do that. When you pull it, just make sure you go upwards so that when you pull your string down or your fabric, it'll stay hung for you. Just go straight vertical. If you do out like this, it's going to go over there. If you pull it up here, it's going to come down here. That's different. That's why. Even when you tie a bow, you tie it backwards. Okay, so we've got that. Let's put him a bell on and a tag. I have my rusty bell, and I put some jute twine on it, and I can tie it and just make it look adorable. But I also want to add the tags. I have picked out Prim Crow that I'm going to put on there. And I have the rusty hinge as well as the vintage photograph. And both of these look really good. I'm going to use the rusty hinge to distress it. And then in the meantime, I'm going to stamp it with the vintage photograph. And then that way it just has that look. This only takes a second to do that one. I'll do the other side. Remember what I said, when you have your tag like that, just flip it like this rather than turning it like that. And then this way, if the wind is blowing or it gets turned around, it will still read upright. Either way, you've got it turned. And so once again, just touching it down there. And then the next thing is we will take and wad that up. and just twist it up a little bit. Give it that old look. And if you do this before you put your distressed ink on there, it looks so much better because the distressing ink will catch on all the grooves and all the little places. And you can also take and distress around the edges. And this is the Tim Holtz paper distresser. I will put links to the inks and the distresser in the description box down below. And this has blades in it. It's real easy to use. You just basically rub it. You can do back and forth. You can do it quickly. You can go one direction. And it just puts these little cuts that you can see right there. And it just ages it up. It is the neatest thing to distress it. It'll put some natural tears into it. And you don't even have to work hard at it. You just run that thing right through there. And voila, you will have your paper distressed. You can do as little or as much as you want. I just really like that softness it puts to the paper. It just really, really does such a great job. Now, the distress ink here, this is Rusty Hinge. This is my new one. And the brushes will also be a link in the description box down below. And you will see how it just catches on these ridges. And it just does so good. And that will just look like a rusty tag. And I thought it would be very fitting with the ink being brown and the tag having this rusty hinge to it because of the color of crow being so dark and it's just black. And so this will help with that. And once again, you can just go in round circles. You can put concentration on one end or the other. You can do just the edges. You can do the whole thing. And you can hit the spots wherever you like. Then if you keep the cord, you can just take and run that down over that, the rusty water spilled on it. It just looks grand. Looks really grand. So I love these brushes. Just dirty it up really good. Now, we got our tag going there, and that just looks really good on there. And once again, either way you go, frontwards or backwards. If you want this to look more distressed with something else, like the brown, for example, you can definitely do that. You also have the black ink that you can do. There's just so many different things you can do, and it just looks great. And this is tea dyed versus coffee dyed. Just a FYI on that. I just love the way this is turning out. And we're just going to put this rusty tag on here. And we're going to use the same thread that's on there. And then that way we can get it the size we want. And I may actually add this to the jute twine here. See how we're going to do our bell. Because a lot of times the bell you glue, and this one we're just going to tie it up here close to this tie. And then if we want to, we can add our tag. Put that tag down real far. And when you do your tag, if you open it up and lay it in there exactly the way it's coming, that way when you pull it over, stay straight just where you want it. And it'll just look really grand. And you can always tie that around the bell. You can cut these strings back, whichever you like. And voila, we have our prim crow looking here. And you can glue that bell if you feel like you need to, but by the time you hang it up, it's going to hang exactly where it needs to be. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and share it with someone who enjoys prints. Once again, if you would rather purchase versus make, you can contact me on the website, or you can just go over there and check out 24/7 without anyone present. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Join the DIY team for the Dandy DIY. I would love to have you join us, and welcome. Until the next DIY, this is Elizabeth. I'll be crafting y'all.